at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to it's Friday, folks. Friday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to thank the head ball coach for our introduction today. And it is the day before the home opener. I want to give a shout out to Florida Later Gator volleyball. They're undefeated. They've upset several highly ranked teams. Mary Wise, maybe this is her year. We shall see. Still long season to go. JC, you're on the Titan No More hotline.
Yeah.
Are you chiming in now?
It's got to happen for her at some point, right? I mean, they are really good this year. So I mean, you just need the chips to fall in the right spot. She's been so close. I don't know how many Final Fours she's been to, but the good news is that they are once again highly competitive and a threat to win it all. So we'll see if she can get to the Final Four.
If you've been sleeping under the rock, Gators get back on the football field tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time against the McNeese Cowboys. Should be an easy victory. And then next week, the Vols roll into town. If you missed it last night, NFL season's kicked off. My Super Bowl, I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, right, JC?
You've got them. Yeah, you do. You have them beating the Saints in the NFC Championship game and then playing the Cincinnati Bengals.
Who did I pick to win the Super Bowl, though? The Bengals?
You got Cincinnati, yeah.
All right, so I had Cincinnati and Detroit. I might be the only human being in the world that picked that. But let me tell you something. The lines are good. I know. Yeah. I have a bone to pick with the NFL. It was driving me bananas, and Chris Collinsworth touched on it. Former Gator Jawan Taylor, who played right tackle, came over from the Jaguars, was illegal on every play of the game. Yeah. Not just one way, but two ways. He false started on every play, and he was lined up in the backfield. And I can promise you, that damn officiating crew going to get their asses chewed out about that.
Yeah, well, you can't mess up like that. You get graded every week, so they're going to have that to deal with. QB, since you mentioned the Super Bowl picks, I have Buffalo playing Philadelphia.
Well, yours is probably more reasonable than mine.
Well, it may be. I mean, it's such a long season, and Detroit is 1-0, but with 17 games, man, this season goes through December. It's a long way to go, but it's a great start for the Lions. I think the Chiefs need to go ahead and get Chris Jones back. Just sign the guy. I mean, San Francisco gave Nick Bosa $170 million. The Jets have given Quinnen Williams $95 million, and there's a couple other guys up there close to $100 million. Chris Jones is better or as good as any of them. Now, Bosa's an edge rusher, and Jones is more inside, I think. I think that's right. So, give Chris Jones the damn money. He's won 2 Super Bowls, all right? Come on. And then, Kelsey being out certainly affected Kansas City, but they're very good, and they're probably going to win that division. I mean, I think we both picked them, or maybe you took the Chargers. It's one of those two. It's one of those two in the AFC West. So, big football weekend. Yeah, I mean, we got the NFL starting on Sunday. We've got better games this week than we had last week. Florida's going to win a football game. That's going to be nice to watch. And today, when we do our Peachland Dental Picks QB, I'm going to add my fantasy play of the week.
Ooh.
I have a fantasy play of the week. I mean,
all right.
Three stinking fantasy leagues, which is about the dumbest thing I've probably done in a long time.
Fantasy football is, I mean, thank goodness last night was the first game of the year, because it's the only time that I will look at my roster, or I would have had Travis Kelce in the game, because I never changed my lineup.
Yeah,
because my give a crap levels like this in fantasy.
Well, I mean, QB, you pay money into that thing.
I know, but I pay money and then you forget about it. Me and several others do the same thing. Now we do have some people in our group that study this crap year round and love it.
Get a lot.
They have nothing better to do.
Well, they
all right. Tony says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Milton, the Saints. Yeah, Tony, I think the Saints are going to roll through their division.
Derek Carr. They're
going to roll through that damn NFC South. That's my opinion. I've been wrong a lot, but I just think they're clearly the best team. Andy asked on Facebook Live, if Casey has Kelsey on the field last night, do you think they win? Kadarius had a poor night. Yeah, he didn't play well. Look, that's the thing about the NFL. stars miss so many games. I mean, look, the
That's
Chiefs are going to be fine, but that was a big win.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why Andy Reid went for it on 4th and 25 with all those timeouts.
I sometimes these guys just confound me. It was 4th and 20. They got a false start, made it 4th and 25. Still went for it. Kind of threw the ball close to the first down marker over his head. I agree with you. I don't know why you just kick the ball, play defense, and hope that Pat can do what Pat does. I mean, how many times has Patrick Mahomes, without a timeout, with under a minute, won a football game for you? I think he forgot that. I don't know how he forgot that, but I think you're right.
Yeah, for sure. Josh on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, JC, do you get reward points for the place you buy your hats?
I do.
You do?
Well, good question, Josh. I mean, I love these hats, dude. I'm a 47 brand guy. Okay, maybe it's over here. There it is. And I love the relaxed fit. I don't like the structured cap, and I need that for all this hair. And it just feels good. I'm a big fan. The Lions. I was wearing this hat 2 years ago when I played golf at in Michigan at Traverse City, and they were awful. And last year they started 1-6. They end up winning at Green Bay in the last game of the season to allow Seattle to get to the playoffs. They finished 9-8, and they won something like 8 out of the last 10 games. And here they are winning again. And Campbell has they are in love with him up there in Michigan, in southeastern Michigan, or southwestern Michigan, eastern Michigan. So in Detroit. So
we don't give a damn where it is. It's way up there. It's cold.
Yeah, it is. But they love him. They love him. And Jared Goff has resuscitated his career. Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl with that trade, but I think Jared Goff has longer durability with Detroit than maybe Stafford with LA. And Jared Goff's going to get this team in the playoffs. They are.
All right. Tony's giving away tickets to the game. We appreciate that. Now we're a ticket exchange. I like it. A lot of our listeners are getting to go to the Swamp.
Yeah, what is it? 7 o'clock, 7:30. QB, you're gonna
7:30.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna miss that Alabama-Texas game, but that's all right. You see the highlights.
Maybe they'll bring a little TV or something and watch it on their phone.
Maybe you better pay attention to what your job is. You better do your job.
Yeah. John wants to know what happened to JC's sombrero weekend picks or whatever he called it.
The sombrero special was legendary at TV20, and
legendary.
I broke a bookie in this town. He flat out admitted it to me. He flat out, who he is. I know who he is. I ruined his business out at Turkey Creek Golf Course, ruined it, and got paged at the Gainesville Ale House looking for my 4 o'clock pick between Minnesota and the Seahawks. I'll never forget it. They gave me the phone. This is before cell phones. Okay. I had to go into the back office and answer the phone and the guy wanted to know who I liked, Minnesota or Seattle. Yeah.
All right. Ted on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel.
I didn't get shot.
He asked how many mental errors are allowable for the Gators on Saturday. Pretty much none. Mental errors. Well, mental errors. As coaches and players combined.
Well, you got to get better from week 1 to week 2. Your competition is going to be nothing near what it was in week 1. They're going to be better. They're going to be better, and they need this badly to have some confidence for next week. We all talk about these recruits, dude. We all talk about how many recruits Florida's got, number 3 recruiting class in the country. Well, guess what? Not one of them has signed anything. So you need to start showing why these kids want to come here. Those kids that went to Florida State that are on the edge that look like A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf went there because that quarterback and that coach. So these guys need to show these new kids coming why they should still come to Florida. And I think they will. But Tennessee's the game next week. I'm not even going to worry about this game. We're not even going to pick this game. It's not even on the board. It's not even on the board.
No, I agree. Mark asked my thoughts on Jadarius Perkins going to the transfer portal. No loss at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Reggie wants to know what time I show from the bookstores tomorrow. The game is at 7:30, so we will be there at 3:30.
There you go.
3:30 in the bookstore. I'm gonna give me a new Peter Millar shirt tomorrow, JC,
with the swinging gator on it. Oh man,
I don't know if they got them. I got one of those, but I don't know if they have those in the bookstore. Those are over at the golf course.
How about this? With all those connections you have over there at AAU, whatever it is, UAA, Why don't you tell them to give some of those proceeds to the golf team that sell out? Those shirts are going to sell out. I'm going to go buy one. I'm not even showing up today at the university. I'm going to go buy one. So it's the best thing. I had it on last week. I had the swinging gator on last week, and I met a good friend out there. Well, he's not a good friend, but he's a loyal watcher of our show that lives way out there named Rich. So shout out to Rich. Good to meet you last week, my man, with all your friends in Utah, and he's watching right now from California. So yeah.
Okay. So Scott on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Will the Tennessee game be at night or 3:30? No, the 3:30 game is long gone in the SEC, right, JC? Because we're not on CBS anymore.
Well,
it's a 7 o'clock or 7:30, the Tennessee game. Yeah. And then Rich says, "Great meeting you in Utah, JC.
There
Love
you go.
The show.
Love. Thank you so much for watching."
Rich said that.
Yep, Rich, just a really cool guy. Met some cool Gator fans last week. Met some folks that are coming from Newport Beach, California to the McNeese State game this weekend, and they're going to stay the whole week for the Tennessee game. And they live out in California. Guy's a wonderful guy, Tom. So, and his wife, Katie. So, yeah, that's big, man. It's a big 2 weeks for Florida. This is a big 2 weeks. This is as big as 2 games as you're going to see it out. And obviously tomorrow it's a formality, but the game next week is at 7 o'clock. You're right. The CBS thing is gone. There are SEC games at 3:30. South Carolina plays Georgia next week at 3:30. So who's televising that game? It's South Carolina.
I don't know. I thought CBS.
Oh, it is. No, it's on CBS. CBS has got this year left. This is it.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
So this year is left. CBS has got 1 year left, and it's the 3:30 game next week. It's South Carolina and Georgia. We all know Florida and Georgia are going to play at 3:30 in Jacksonville, and that's also going to be on CBS. Florida better win some games.
Kelly on YouTube says, "I got your Roll Tide Kale Bell." Is that one of your lady friends, JC?
That's an old friend from Alabama. She's down there.
You got loyal listeners everywhere, JC.
Yeah, she's and cancer survivor, doing great now. Much better. God bless. And next week, South Florida plays Alabama.
Cool. All right, let's get to some Facebook Lives brought to you by Metal Law. Joseph says, "I don't care what the score is. We need to see better pace on offense, or it's going to be a long season. Can't use the whole play clock to get snaps off with this new running clock rule." I agree with that. And he says, "Can fans stop by during your show?" Yes, they can come by and say hello. I'm there with Steve Russell. Cam says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, "Do you ever go to games such as Arkansas?" Not sure. Cam, I don't quite understand the question. I go to every game. I'm in the press box calling the game.
Arkansas will be in Gainesville. I think you'll be there.
Yeah,
right?
I will be at that game. I'll be up in the press box.
Okay. Good to know you'll be there, QB.
Well, I plan to be there. I mean, you never know. Okay. JC, what's going on in tennis? Ben Shelton and Coco from Delray Beach. Is Ben Shelton play today?
He's playing at 3 o'clock against the Joker. And that, it's going to be quite a challenge for young Ben, but this is the kind of thing that gets him in the papers, right? I mean, it gets him in the news. He's made all these headlines with this ridiculous 140 some odd mile an hour serve. He's got an incredible forehand. He beat TFO in 4 sets in a match that we all stayed up till almost 1 o'clock to watch. Lasted almost 4 hours. The kid is tremendous. He and Alcaraz, I think, are the future of tennis. He and Alcaraz on the men's side. Coco is playing fantastic tennis on the ladies' side. She's going to play the Belarusian, which is an offshoot of a Russian, named Arina Sabalenka. I know you're worried about that, and that's going to be tomorrow for the women's championship. Coco Golf, we root for the American, but Ben is playing the Joker, and Alcaraz is going to play Medvedev. He's one of a former champion, U.S. Open former champion. So we've got 3 U.S. Open former champions playing in the semifinals on the men's side.
I love tennis. Cam. Yeah, Cam, you can always stop by the Union.
I love tennis.
And hang out with us there if you want. All right, so Natasha says, where'd it go? Where did Natasha's thing go? Here it is. She says, "Speaking of recruits, my daughter watched the Utah UF game from Utah's recruit suite and said it was amazing. Yes, and all her Gator gear. As much as I love the Gator room, we need an update. Yeah, that all that will be updated when they redo the stadium, for sure. All right. JC,
Yes.
or no, there's a question here from Rich on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Where do you think we infused the most talent so far, from transfers or these awesome freshmen? As I told you, I thought the freshman wide receivers are outstanding. We only got to see one of them play. I think Caleb Banks and Cam Jackson, the two D tackles, have really helped us. But I mean, it's been one game, so we'll see. It all have to
Maybe
play
we'll
out.
see. Maybe we'll see Andy Jean play a little more this weekend. I'm curious to see what he looks like up there. But I love Wilson, Eugene Wilson. He's the guy I think that Florida should absolutely target. Pearsall, of course, is fine. Douglas had a great catch, over the head there. This is going to be a good weekend just to get people happy, watch a lot of touchdowns. I think I'm going to say your man Mertz throws at least 4 touchdown passes on Saturday night.
Redwood is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service when providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. All right, JC, I got a question for you, JC, because I had multiple people send me texts on the Titan Mark text line saying, why do I think Mertz played so well? They disagree.
300 yards. 300 yards.
No. Okay, but hang on. Here's what just baffles me. JC, does Alabama, when Bryce Young was there, did they throw any wide receiver screens?
I think you could say they did.
Yes. Does Caleb Williams at USC, the Heisman Trophy winner, throw wide receiver screens?
I mean, that's Lincoln's go-to play. I mean,
okay. So my point I'm trying to make is, people want to say, well, he doesn't throw it down the field enough. Look, that's part of the offense. Did Pat Mahomes throw the ball sideways last night? Yes. Did Jared Goff throw wide receiver screens? Yes. So if anybody worries about statistically not throwing the ball down the field, when you throw for 333 yards, you're doing something right, and you throw for 70%. I don't give a damn if it's bubble screens the whole game. You have to complete them. And that's not what they do. A real offense and playing quarterback is taking what the defense gives you, and then when there's a shot, you take it. Okay? So 100%. I'm not sitting here saying Graham Mertz is going to win the Heisman, but he played very well the other day. And
I don't think – I mean, anybody who watched that game knows he wasn't.
No, JC, our fans they may or may not be our fans, but I can't tell you how many texts I got just blasting me, which I could care less. I'm just bringing it up because they obviously don't know how quarterback play. Did you ever watch Tom Brady play? He threw the ball sideways multiple times in a game.
What was that guy's name? Wes Welker, maybe? I mean, well, listen. I sympathize with Gator fans, though, QB. I get what you're saying. I understand people have these very rash reactions after the first game or after any game, really. But Gator fans should be given a little slack, man. They're a very patient fan base, and I say that because this school has missed on 3 hires since Urban Meyer. And some folks are saying they've missed on 4 now. So let's give the Gator fans a little bit of slack, okay? They have been patient. 2009 QB. Yeah,
well, this has nothing to do with the Gator. We're not talking about coaching. I'm talking about actual play.
But this fan base,
what we saw Saturday.
I get it. I know.
Or Thursday.
But a lot of folks in the media, Feinbaum included, all of them think the Gator fan base is wretched. That they have absolutely no regard for what's happening. No patience, and I just disagree with that. I think Gator fans have put up with a lot, especially in the last 14 years. Give me a break. Right. But no, I get it. Graham Mertz had nothing to do with their issues in my mind against Utah. It was non-football playing type stuff. It was, well, we all know it was. I'm not going to rehash that. We all saw it. So, false starts.
Yeah, I mean, my whole point was Reggie says Brady in his last year had to speed up because the offensive line was bad, and most of his passes were inside 10. Most passes for any offense on first and second down are 10 yards or less.
Yeah.
I just don't know what these people are thinking.
They want 30-yard post routes.
You can't. Okay, so you drop back 3 straight plays and throw deep post routes or go routes. and next thing you know, you're punting.
You're putting. I mean, everybody thinks we still got Phil Simms that's hitting Mark Bavaro in the seam for 25, 35 yards. It's not that easy, man. That's a tough pass.
No, it's just, I mean, none of these people have ever sat and put a game plan together and things like the defense does get paid too, and they're going to give you stuff underneath, so you have to take that. All right, yes. Chris from Mayaca on the Titan our text line. Do y'all think Matt Rule at Nebraska will expose Deion this weekend? That's a good question. I think Matt Rule's a great, a very good college coach. I don't think pros is for him. My only concern with Nebraska is their quarterback, Jeff Sims, who used to be at Georgia Tech. I didn't think he was worth the damn. He obviously didn't play very well in their first game. He could light up Colorado because they gave up over 500 and something yards. So we'll see. I just think there's too much love for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska finds a way to win that game. This is from an anonymous texter. Says, anyone that thinks Mertz didn't play well or that Napier needs to be fired are not being realistic. I mean, Billy, I will say this: we do have to speed it up. I said it on the broadcast. If I'm somewhat critical on the broadcast from what I think we need to be doing because it was taking forever for us to get plays snapped. So.
Yes.
All right. Joseph says, when you know your line can't block, you don't run play action because you know the QB won't have this time. It's a scheme. Sometimes play action is pretty good when you don't have good linemen because it kind of hesitates. That causes the defense to hesitate between run and pass. Joseph says all coaching issues. Yeah, I mean, we didn't coach well. There's no question about it. We didn't coach well at all. Van Der says, Shane, the way you have sold Mertz to us for the last few weeks, there's no way you're going to say anything remotely negative. That is not true, dude. I mean, I don't know what your problem is, but I'll be critical. I said he was going to throw interceptions. He threw one. Wasn't his fault. It was a combination between him and Ricky Pearsall. But if you looked at him and didn't think he played well, you don't know football. I mean, it's that simple. You don't. I wouldn't care if it was JC or player X. You know, I thought Riley Leonard played very well the other night for Duke.
Yes,
I mean,
he did.
I thought the Clemson quarterback didn't play well. So there you have it. But if Graham doesn't play well, I will tell you. I will tell you in a heartbeat. I have no problem with that.
I'm saying over 4 touchdown passes Saturday. Not that anyone cares. I think
maybe. I don't know if he'll play long enough to throw unless we come out firing.
Maybe we'll let
All right, let's get to our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. We're going to do our college and a few NFL picks, and then JC's got some super lock fantasy play or something.
I've got the fantasy play of the week for all you fantasy players. All right, we'll start it off with a couple of games. We'll get in the SEC here shortly, but we'll start off with Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame playing at NC State and laying 7.5. Well, Notre Dame starting off 2-0.
I'm going to it's in Raleigh-Durham?
Yeah, it's down there in North Carolina.
I will go with the Pack.
Yeah, I like those points too, QB. That's over a touchdown at home. Yeah, give me that. Here's a good game, and I believe in this team. Oregon at Texas Tech, laying 6. Dan Lanning, Bo Nix. They're going to score a lot of points. Texas Tech's going to score a lot of points. Texas Tech is a team that suffered a bad loss at Wyoming after going ahead 17-0. But they're only catching 6. I think Oregon beats them by 10. I'll take Oregon.
Yeah, Texas Tech was supposed to have a pretty good year. They play fast. Their offense is the fastest offense in America last year. People don't realize that. I'm going to say they bounce back. Somehow they keep it close. I think they lose the game. Real quick, Tony says, Shane, did you find a sponsor for the take a shot play after a turnover? No, we haven't found one. And we got to start taking shots for it to even get a sponsor.
Call.
We got to have a liquor sponsor.
Yeah, call Fireball. Wisconsin at Wazoo. Luke Fickell bringing his team to Washington State and laying 6 points. That's a tough place to play. I'm going to take the points at home with Washington State.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. That's a Pac-12. No, it's a big. Is that a Big Ten game now or no?
No, Wazoo hasn't been. They and Oregon State have been left out. It's too bad.
That's right. I'll go with the Cougars at home.
Okay, now we go into some more familiarity here. We're going to go with that Nebraska-Colorado game. Everybody's talked about Deion all damn week long. Colorado's merchandising sales is up 70%. They've sold out every home game. This never could have happened if they had hired another guy other than Deion because he never would have been able to get those players. I like Colorado at home laying at 2.5.
Wait, say that one more time.
Colorado.
I was reading this. Colorado, Nebraska. I'm going to take the Cornhuskers.
You hate Dion.
I don't hate Dion. I just they one game wonders ain't going to do it for me. And like I told you, my buddy whose kid plays at TCU said he didn't think they're going to win 5 games this year.
Possibly. Okay, it's a good game in New Orleans this weekend on campus at Tulane. The Mississippi Land Sharks. What are they? Anyway,
Black Bears.
The Black Bears are playing at Tulane, and they are laying 7.5 points to the Wave, baby, the Green Wave. I'm taking Mississippi. Give me Mississippi.
I'm a diehard Rebel, but I think Tulane is going to find a way to win this game.
You think they'll win outright?
I do think they're going to win outright. Real quick, Rich asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, how does Mertz do with pre-snap reads compared to QBs of the past? Seems like he did pretty well given how well Utah changed things up. He's one of the brightest QBs football wise. I don't know about his GPA and all that, but from football smarts, he's off the charts. All right, back to you, JC.
Arizona out of the Pac-12, a winner last week against Northern or Southern Utah or Northern Arizona, somebody. Anyway, they're playing Mississippi State. They are catching 10 in Starkville. Creed Whittemore with a touchdown catch, our Gainesville guy.
And a touchdown run. He had 2 touchdowns.
A touchdown run. That's right. I think Zach's going to do a good job at Mississippi State. Nobody is looking at them. I think people better not sleep on them. And I think Mississippi State will hit this Pac-12 team in the face. And it's 10 points. And I like Mississippi State to win by 2 touchdowns. I'm not an Arizona guy.
Well, Arizona has Jed Fish, who's under the Steve Spurrier coaching tree. He's done a really good job with them, by the way. I'll go with Mississippi State. I think they'll they'll barely cover the spread.
All right. Then out there in Berkeley, where I just came back from, and I'm telling you, it is a weird place out there. Auburn at Cal. Auburn is giving 6.5. This game, Hugh Freeze is angry because this game is starting at 7:30 local time, which is 9:30 on their body clock.
Well, and that's what everybody in the Pac-12 does.
They're doing it more, yeah. But California wants that primetime 7:30 game, and that's what ESPN is doing. They're going to show this game after the Alabama-Texas game. It's a 6.5 point spread for Hugh Freeze. I think Cal's going to run the football and keep the Auburn offense somewhat subdued. I think Cal's going to run the football. I like some of their players. That they got athletes at Cal, and I'm going to take the 6.5 against Auburn.
I'm going to go with I think Auburn's going to win the game, but I think Cal keeps it close. I couldn't name the Cal coach or one player on their team.
I read about it the other day and I already forgot.
Yeah, there you go.
They've got some guy named Isaiah Ifenez, and he had a great game last week running the football, and they blew out North Texas. Blew them out in Denton, Texas. So Cal traveled last week, looked very athletic. They throw the ball a lot. They're not.
That's where the Gators practice before Utah, by the way.
In North Denton,
home of the Mean Green.
Yeah, in Denton, kind of a funny looking stadium with a triangle. But the Cal Bears have athletes. They do, and Auburn's going to have, I think, some issues stopping the run. And then finally, the big game of the week. I think the highlight game of the week is Texas at Alabama. Sark is bringing his boys. He didn't show much last week. Didn't need to, and I think they're going to bring out all the stops against Alabama. But I like Alabama at home on Saturday night against just about anybody from Texas. So I'm taking the Crimson Tide laying the 7. Roll damn Tide, and on ESPN. Yeah, I do. I already put that down. In fact, I already wrote you down for Texas.
I think Texas is going. I think they're going to win the game, JC.
Yeah. Why?
Well, as you've heard me, do I care what happened last year in a game?
No.
I do know this. You have to admit, when Quinn Ewers was playing before he got hurt, they were scheming from a scheming them up standpoint. Yep. They were getting dudes open.
Good news for Alabama.
Texas kind of kept Bryce Young under control. Bryce made a few unbelievable plays that won the game.
True.
Now, having said all that, that didn't mean anything. The game's in Tuscaloosa. Mm-hmm. But I do think this is a big game for Sark just because they've been very average since he's been there. And for them coming into the league, this is a game that could take them over the top. I feel like somehow they find a way to win. I want to say your team has a bunch of injuries in the secondary too. Is that true?
A couple guys got banged up last week. I'm not sure their status. I think they're game time decisions, and that's going to hurt them. Listen, this is a signature game for Texas. They need this win, like you said. But Alabama on Saturday night in that stadium, that atmosphere is not regarded like LSU's is or Clemson's is. But on big games, when the fans feel threatened, it's as good an atmosphere as anywhere, and it's just as loud as anywhere. But a lot of times they're comfortable with who they play there, and they don't get that one.
How great would it be if Bevo showed up and y'all brought out a damn real elephant?
I mean, that would steal the whole broadcast, or for me.
That would be awesome.
That would be all I need. I got 3 NFL games for you. Then we'll play our game of the week. Tampa Bay is at Minnesota. The Bucs at the Vikings, laying 5. Vikings laying 5.
Oh, I like the Vikings.
Okay, I'm going to take the team you think sucks and take the 5 points. Otherwise, it should have been a higher spread.
Where's that game at?
It's up in Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
in the roof. Dolphins. Remember, there's no Dalvin Cook in Minnesota anymore. Dolphins at the Chargers. The Dolphins are catching 3 on the road all the way across the country at SoFi against a very, very athletic Chargers team. I like the Chargers laying 3.
I do. I love their quarterback. Should be a high scoring game.
Jacksonville is at Indy. This is Anthony Richardson's debut. They're catching 4.5, and I think the Jags are going to beat them by double digits. Give me Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think the Jags have a chance. I think they're going to win their division easily. But I saw somewhere some high profile sports reporter had them going to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I think they're that good. But I mean, it's the AFC. I think they win big this weekend.
Yeah, that's a divisional game. It's an important game. Their division is not considered difficult. I think they're going to win, but their schedule is harder, as Frank Frangie has said on this show, because they're playing division winners from other divisions because they won the division. That's how the scheduling works.
Well, I think don't they play – you're a season ticket holder. You should know this,
yes,
JC.
I do know this.
Who do the Jags got next week?
They open their home opener is Kansas City Chiefs.
And Kansas City's coming in 0-1.
Coming off a loss with Thursday night.
Could you imagine if the Chiefs started 0-2? You just don't roll into TIAA Bank Field and get a win.
It's going to be a great home opener for Jacksonville, especially if they can beat the Colts, which they usually always do. The game of the week is Buffalo at the Jets, Aaron Rodgers' debut, but we're going to pick that on Monday, QB, because that game is Monday Night Football. So we're going to wait till Monday to pick Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo's my pick to win the AFC. Fantasy pick of the week. This is your fantasy play of the week. I'm giving this to you free. The fantasy pick of the week.
You need a 1-800 number, JC.
It's not a player. It is the Washington Redskins / Commanders, whatever you want to call them, video game team defense against the Arizona Cardinals with Josh Dobbs as their starting quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals win total this year is 3.5. And more people on the Adam Shine show on Sirius XM, which is all NFL, are taking the under for the Arizona Cardinals. Washington is very good on defense, very physical. You play the Washington defense this week against the Arizona Cardinals, you might get 15 to 20 points. I really believe they're going to score.
Don't be surprised if Sam Howell doesn't have a tremendous year for the Redskins.
That's right. I mean, the Redskins, look, that division, dude. Philly, Dallas, New York, and this team. Oh, that's a good division. That might be the best team in football.
All right, JC. We'll talk to you on Monday, my man. We got to get to Edgar Thompson. All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk a little Gator football, get his thoughts on what's going on with the program. That's Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Attention all Gator fans, Meldon Law is giving away a chance to experience the Florida-Georgia game like never before. 2-night stay at the Hilton on the River, dinner at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 2 premium tickets to the game, and a football signed by Coach Billy Napier, and much more. Go to the Meldon Law Facebook page and look for the VIP experience for 2. Good luck and go Gators!
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruzoga State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to go to the Titan More hotline now. We're joined by Orlando Sentinel's Edgar Thompson. Good morning, Edgar. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, Shane. I tell you, I was just saying before we got on here, I want one of those shirts. I need to. Once I'm like not working, covering the Gators, I can wear it.
Yeah. So speaking of that shirt, I got to get more information, but we're going to be giving one of those shirts away here pretty soon. Jeffrey's going to give us one. I don't know if he's the designer of it.
I'm talking about your shirt.
My shirt? Oh, my shirt. I thought you were talking about the one that Jeffrey Belden was wearing.
I wouldn't wear that one.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give that away. Yeah. My shirt's pretty subtle. So these are some that I made. So Edgar.
You need to market those like JC with his swinging gator stuff.
I know there's nothing better than the swinging gator. All right, give me your thoughts going into this game. I know you've been going to the press conferences and things of that nature. Supposedly they've had some really difficult, hard practices this week. What are you hearing?
He talked about that Wednesday, and I'm glad to hear it. They should. After that performance, that's one where you know they need to be held accountable on every level at practice, and the coaching staff too. Billy's holding himself accountable. He's taking ownership. Monday maybe dug into some of the intangibles and things he likes to discuss a little bit, but on Wednesday, Basie said the criticism we're getting is deserved.
Yeah, it is.
And performance.
It's what I said, and I know people can say this about whether you win a game, lose a game, and whether it's excuses or whatever, but it's facts. Whether Florida doesn't do the dumb mental before the balls even snap penalties or mistakes, they still may not have won the game, but at least the game's close. I mean, you just cannot have the things that happen on special teams happen ever again. And I'm not even talking about the 2 number 3s. That one doesn't bother as much as having 8 guys on a field goal block one time,
Unreal.
10 on the other. And I said all week long, I'm in the box doing another job, watching everything, and I don't know what's going on. Why nobody? No, we didn't even try to run anybody on the field. Usually when somebody's missing, guys are running onto the field. So that has got to get corrected. It drove me crazy. I about jumped out of the damn box. I was so upset. I was upset at just all the little things that I thought we would never do. You're going to have physical errors, as I said, because if we make that field goal at 7-6, does the game change? Momentum shift? Who knows? But we miss a chip shot, and then they go down and make it 14-3. So I'm glad that Billy's taking accountability, which I knew he would. But Edgar, don't you? I mean, the special team stuff just killed this team at Utah.
Well, they had like 4 pre-snap penalties for one. So I might be wrong with my math, but if you let's say they score in those 2 red zone opportunities, even if it's 6, but it could have been 14, and then you screw up the punt and you give them the ball and they score. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you saw the TikTok making the rounds that showed Princely. Did you see
No,
it?
I don't know what happened there. I don't have TikTok, so
Well, I don't either. Someone sent it to me. It's making the rounds. Or some guy, I forget his name, Coach 30 or something. He's pretty funny. But Princely was in coverage out to the sideline, and the guy takes off, and he's just looking over his shoulder, sees him, and rather than planting a foot and hauling butt like you're taught you're taught to pursue. You know, when you're a kid, you pursue all the time because a guy could come back into you and he could have clocked the guy and forced a fumble even. And he just didn't even try to run. It was unbelievable.
I
And
didn't
it's
see
like,
that.
it was bad. And it was like, I'm sure he's been shown that and told that is not going on anymore. You got the number one, you're getting the hype. We need you. I asked Billy about Princely, and this is the stuff that I get frustrated with Billy a little bit. And I get you don't need to throw a guy under the bus, but you could say for us to be the defense, we need to be Princely needs to play better and be more productive. It's true. It's not like ripping the kid's effort. But instead, he's like, Prince will be fine. It's like, okay, well, that isn't a satisfying answer, but whatever. But in terms of the special teams thing, I joked with someone. I mean, what are we back in New Mexico, rural New Mexico football, 8-man football? How could you not see that? 10 or 12, I can see you may not see that. 8 guys, it's like, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't know who's like overseeing this stuff. And then Billy explained the double threes, that they had multiple personnel groups, which does create a lot of confusion. But Dan Mullen, I guess, on the ESPN telecast said there you got 99 numbers and 85 scholarship guys sorted out. He even said when he was here once, one of the biggest pains in his butts, if not the biggest, is dealing with the numbers.
Yeah, there's no question because Cliff says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, the 2 number 3s wouldn't happen if they would eliminate multiple players wearing the same number. The HBC never did that. The rule wasn't in effect when Coach was practicing. It just changed a couple of years ago where you could have multiple the same number.
But yeah, the PA guy. The PA guy calls out wrong guys all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do it sometimes up top because it makes no sense to me. I wish they would get rid of it, but I guess it helps in recruiting, but and another issue that could have happened was we all know Trey Wilson wore 21 until about the week of the game. He switched to 3. So I don't think that will happen again. It better not happen again. But Edgar, did Billy address? I've been gone all week. I know everybody wants to talk about we need to run the football. See, I totally disagree with that. I know we got 2 really good running backs, and yes, give them the ball. But you cannot try to run the football if they have more than you can block. It's a numbers game. I've talked about it on my show every freaking day. Football is not hard. If they got too many in here, you got to throw it out there. If they got it spread out, you got to run it in here. And a lot of it depends on the situation too. But I feel like with number 1, the offensive number 3 and number 4, they got really good wideouts, and we need to throw, and go faster. That's my opinion. Has he talked about any of that, or does he want to try to run the football?
Spoken like a true quarterback.
Well, that's not true. I mean, I call plays too, but I have the reason I was so high on this football team is because of what I saw in practice throwing and catching. I said I hadn't seen this since Trask left, and he had some really good wideouts. I'm not comparing any of these wideouts to our first round guys. But I think they're really good college wide receivers.
Well, I didn't think Mertz was the problem. I thought he was very composed, particularly in the 2 drives in response to the first that opening 70-yard touchdown. Thought he was composed early on. He made a nice throw to Burke. Remember that one where he dropped it in there? Then he looked off and hit Montrell on the sideline for about a 16-yarder on a screen. I don't think Anthony makes that throw to Montrell. He might not make the Burke throw, but those were nice. And so I don't know that I think he's the problem, but do you really want him thrown 44 times? Like you said, though, he was forced into doing that. You got to get ETN going. I don't know, however it is, in my opinion. I don't know. he had 4 catches for 12 yards, so that obviously didn't work out. Montreal was better catching the ball. I got to see more ETN personally. I'm glad Eugene Wilson's getting a shot. Now it's coming at Khalil Jackson's expense because he's hurt. Mark Long yesterday on our podcast joked he's going to be the Wally Pipp of the Gators because he's going to never get his starting job back because of Eugene. But that kid's explosive. You can see the little bit we got to see the first time. I think it was August 5th. Remember that open practice for all of us? We got to watch the public and everyone got to see more. You could just see that guy's acceleration. He's like explosiveness in and out of cuts. And it was better even than Ricky, and Ricky's good at that. So you got Ricky, you got him. I think Caleb Douglas is a nice piece. And I'm probably forgetting a couple of guys. They threw a lot to the tight ends. You just don't have a dynamic guy there. I love Jonathan Odom. He's a great kid. Played golf with him one day, shot 76. He's a good golfer too. Good guy, and he was great. He spoke the other night. But does he need 4 catches when Eugene Wilson's getting 3 touches? I don't think we're going to see that again either.
Yeah. So did anybody ask him about?
He hasn't talked about what you're saying about spreading it out and all that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. So I've called all the games, and I was trying to think of this yesterday when I was driving back into town. I don't know if we've ever gone 4 wides, which is 10 personnel, no tight ends, 4 wide receivers on the field with one running back. When we were down, we didn't really start throwing it a lot until we were down 21-7. We had to, or whatever the score was, 21-3. We had to start throwing it. I just wish early in the game that we would focus on throwing the football a little more, because I feel like it would help our running game and not have to wait and try to come from behind. Let's jump on people early, because I really think we got a really good passing attack. I really believe it. Really believe it. Real quick, 1966 HBC beer available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games in the Swamp, and select retail outlets. Crisp American Lager. That's 1966 HBC beer. We're speaking with Edgar Thompson for the Orlando Sentinel. Edgar, this game's going to be an ugly game. This team we're playing is terrible. Somebody asked earlier, who do you think the second quarterback that comes in after Mertz? It will be Max Brown. He is a scholarship quarterback. Now, if we were playing Tennessee and something happened to Mertz, I think the Leon kid would come in next. Just my personal opinion. But anyway, what do you need to see to make you feel a little bit better going into the Tennessee game tomorrow night?
They need to hammer this team. They need to come out and just like score in their first 5 drives. Literally, just pound this team. Don't make mistakes. Smooth operation and scoring. And we need a bunch of 12 and 14 play drives. Let's see some like chunk plays. Do what you're supposed to do against a team you're paying $500,000 to come in and basically give you, a warm up before the biggest game on the schedule. I mean, is next week. They lose that game, man, and I don't know what the noise in the system is going to be like, but they win that game, and then suddenly you're looking at a schedule that, how good's Kentucky? I don't know. They're tough on the road. I don't know that they're very good. And South Carolina certainly didn't look good against North Carolina. But North Carolina's also got like the best quarterback in the country, east of the Mississippi, and a very good coach, veteran. And so who knows what that really meant. And then you get Vandy at home, and you got a little, you got to prove Vandy outmaneuvered Florida last year. But is that really going to happen again? You know what I really want to see next week too? And hopefully we see a little bit of it this week. And the crowd needs to still stay behind this team, right? There are a lot of frustrated fans, and I get it. But they need to show, it's an opener. You think they're going to show pretty well. It's a bad opponent. It might not be great, but it'll still be solid. They got to show Tennessee, they can be a factor in that game, the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and you may have tennis, not that it matters, because I've always said that 33-game winning streak against Kentucky meant nothing. But Tennessee has not won in the Swamp since when?
2003.
Yeah. So
I was at the game. It was that halftime botch by Zook. That was like when you started going, man, what is up? You already kind of were saying that a little, but they did some weird thing where they just kind of played for, I don't know, they just gave Tennessee the ball on the 48. Remember they just ran out of downs? You remember this game? And Clausen,
I don't. I was still
right?
playing. I was still playing in the league. That
Um,
tells you how long ago it was. And sometimes I couldn't watch the games because we were traveling or whatever.
Well, it was
But
halftime, and Casey Clausen throws a Hail Mary running last play of the half and touchdown, 48-yarder. And it was like, okay, what the heck just happened? And they're down 10-3, and then Tennessee just kind of ran on them the second half. They only ended up with like 150 yards rushing, but it was just this 3 yards, 4 yards, and just beat them down. Really hot day in the swamp. Bad loss. And that's the last time Tennessee won here. Really, the only time Tennessee's beaten Florida since that 04 game where Wilhoit hit a 50-yarder or whatever right at the gun, which was crazy game. That was a Dallas Baker penalty game with James Allen and all that. You remember that one. Was 15, where Dobbs threw 4 touchdowns in the second half and they won 38-28 or something. And Dobbs just came out of nowhere against that defense. Shane, that defense that year, 2015, gave up 8 touchdown passes the whole year, and 4 of them were in one half to Josh Dobbs. So other than last year, that's the only wins Tennessee's had in a long 20 years of those 3 wins. So to win back-to-back against Gators just hadn't happened in eons, 2003-4.
Wow, that's that. Yeah, not that matters. And like I said, Tennessee, I went back and watched their tape against Virginia. People got to remember, Virginia might be the worst. They might be the worst team in the ACC. So,
big time.
Yeah, we'll see.
No,
We'll
and
see.
but Milton, here's my thing: the crowd shows Auburnish, 19, LSU 18. Those crowds play roles. They rattle guys. Joe Burrow threw 3 picks in 18. Everyone forgets. Bo Nix was terrible in 19. Those guys, you get rattled, man, if you're a quarterback and you hadn't seen something like that.
Well, I want to say the last time Joe Milton came here 2 years ago, he was a starting quarterback and got benched.
Oh, was he? Okay. Because
I want to say he started the game and then they brought in whatchamacallit, that just graduated. What's his name? Hendon Hooker.
I forgot he started. But that game was 38-14. They rolled over him. And that was Dan. I mean, Dan was fired like a month later after that almost. It was like crazy to think in retrospect.
It is crazy. All right, Edgar. I got my one question. Well, it was a question. It's my question, but it's also a question on here on the Titan Mar text line from Jim. He says, Edgar, is there any way that Billy speeds up the offense?
He doesn't reveal his hand, man. So I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it. I think with Mertz, you got someone who can do it. Someone was telling me who knows a lot more than I that Mertz was ready to go. I mean, he's at the line. He knows what's up. He does.
I sat in meetings with him and I was blown away at his football IQ. Blown away.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do it. All that motion and stuff. I was talking to G. Allen, who's been on this show before. We had lunch yesterday. I was catching up with him. And he's like, you got to try to create mismatches somehow. But the way they did it the other day, it just did not look smooth. And I heard when Billy got here from a guy who really watched a lot of Louisiana football and knows the game, was like he really liked Billy's offense, that aspect to it particularly, that they were very good at like the motions and getting mismatches pre-snap and things. And it sure didn't look good the other day. I'm sure it was highly frustrating for Billy. He doesn't come out and say that. I'm sure he's not slept very well in the last 10 days. So the Gators need to win a game. They've lost 4 in a row. They haven't won since November 12th of last year against South Carolina. And they need to just come win a game. Doesn't matter who they're playing. And get some energy and some momentum and some confidence before, again, a huge game.
Yep, no doubt. Edgar, we appreciate your time, my man. Let everybody know your Twitter handle so they can follow you and send you nasty tweets.
Well, hopefully not those. OS Gators, the same, hasn't changed. Yep. It's X, isn't it? We calling it X?
Yeah, X. I call it Twitter. Just like I call them the Redskins. They're still the Redskins to me. I don't give a damn what they call them.
Yeah, I forget the Commanders thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Shane.
Thank you for your time. That's Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. Does a tremendous job covering the Gators. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. I want to thank Edgar and JC for joining us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. Hope you guys enjoy a great weekend of college and NFL football, and we'll recap it all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Take care.